I found myself transported 10 years into the future. The gentle young man who had once adored me was now Lucas Hudson, a rising star in the business world. He remained perfect in every way, except the warmth in his eyes had vanished, replaced by hollow indifference and simmering resentment that chilled me to the bone. Everyone insisted I owed Lucas my life. Our reunion occurred at a charity gala where he stood out like royalty among commoners. As champagne flutes clinked, well-wishers swarmed around him. "Congratulations on your upcoming engagement, Mr. Hudson," someone toasted. His features softened momentarily until his gaze locked onto mine across the room, dragging me into a shadowed alcove. Lucas gripped my chin with bruising force. "Who sent you?" he demanded, icy rage crackling in his voice. Who authorized this surgical mockery? The boy I'd known at 19 would have melted at my touch. But this man, my nails bit into my palms as I whispered, "Lucas. It's Ivy. Ivy Peters." He recoiled as if burned, contempt twisting his handsome features. "Tell your puppet masters to try harder next time," he spat, returning to the glittering crowd like I didn't exist. I blinked back tears while scrubbing dishes until my hands turned raw. When collecting wages, my request for cash payment drew sneers. "What backwater hole did you crawl from?" the manager scoffed, tossing me a crumpled bill. Freezing night air slapped my face as I fled, only to break abruptly when a black sedan glided alongside me. The tinted window descended, revealing Lucas's profile illuminated by streetlights, his expression unreadable but eyes burning with dangerous intensity. "Get in the car. Don't make me repeat myself," Lucas Hudson said tersely. I bit my lip and climbed into the vehicle. "Where are you staying now?" he asked casually. I lowered my head. 24-hour convenience stores. Sometimes park benches. To prove it, I rolled up my sleeve to reveal the scar from our childhood car accident, the same crash where he'd broken his leg shielding me from an out-of-control truck. "Lucas. I'm really Ivy. I don't know how I ended up 10 years in the future," I pleaded, throat tight. "I know. Put your sleeve down." His calm tone contrasted sharply with the man who'd earlier gripped my chin with red-rimmed eyes. Had he truly accepted this impossible situation? The car fell silent. After 10 lost years finally finding someone who might believe me, the questions burst out. What happened this past decade? Where's the me of this timeline? His profile remained impassable against the passing city lights. "You didn't check home?" When I shook my head about lacking ID and money, he stated flatly, "Dead." The Hudson family heir brought me to a modest 2-bedroom apartment. Not the mansion I'd expected. "Disapprove?" he challenged as I hesitated at the threshold. "Better than parks." I hurried inside with gratitude. The guest room stunned me, pink decor bursting with luxury cosmetics and designer dresses. Clearly a young woman's sanctuary. My grubby reflection in the polished floor tiles made me retreat. Lucas stood smoking on the balcony, ember glow highlighting his unreadable expression. "Don't like it? The sofa then. That's your fiancé's room." I shouldn't dash. "Fiancé?" His laugh held ice. "Want those answers?" Ash tumbled from his cigarette as his gaze swept me. "Strip, and I'll tell you." Tears welled as I froze. He wiped one away without warmth. "Can't handle this? Yet you followed me home?" My trembling hands clutched his as sobs broke free. "Lucas Hudson, I'm scared." The grievances and panic I'd suppressed since being inexplicably thrown a decade into the future came bursting out all at once. I wanted this version of Lucas to comfort me gently like he used to. But he pushed me away, grabbing a nearby blanket to throw roughly over my head. "Go to the damn room." "I won't." I yanked off the blanket, stubbornly meeting Lucas's gaze. After 10 years apart, the fact that Lucas had another girlfriend was impossible to accept, let alone being told to sleep in his fiancé's room. His obsidian eyes bored into me, utterly emotionless. "Take the guest room or sleep on the streets." The threat hung heavy. I surrendered. clutching the blanket as I retreated to Lucas's bedroom. Sleeping in parks wasn't an experience I cared to repeat. The room resembled a Gothic crypt with its monochromatic decor. Eerie even with lights on. Bare except for the bed. It contradicted everything I remembered about Lucas's style. For a moment, I wondered if I'd slipped into some parallel universe. But the faint mint and grapefruit scent lingering on the sheets matched Lucas's remnants of the birthday gift shampoo I'd given him years ago. Sleep evaded me, my mind swirling with unanswered questions. When knocking came at dawn, I bolted barefoot to the door. We both froze upon seeing each other. Natalie? The name slipped out before she frowned. Who are you? Why are you here? This was Natalie Grant, my closest high school confidant. Finally encountering someone familiar. My eyes brimmed as I reached for her hand. Nana. It's... Lucas's return cut me off. He casually wrapped an arm around Natalie's waist, guiding her to the sofa where he lit a cigarette. My blood turned to ice watching their intertwined fingers. When Natalie questioned my identity, Lucas exhaled smoke lazily. Some amusing trinket people sent over, keeping it around for entertainment. Natalie tittered behind her hand. When she opened the door, I almost thought it was Ivy. Counterfeits can't compare to the original, Lucas replied, his smile frostier than dry ice. After delivering documents, Natalie left me with a loaded smirk. You look remarkably like my old friend. The moment the door closed, Lucas stormed to the bathroom. Water roared for 15 minutes before he emerged, hair dripping, face streaked with moisture, looking equal parts feral and shattered. I stood rooted, throat constricting like I'd swallowed lead. Your fiancée is Natalie? My two most trusted people had conspired in this future betrayal. Lucas fumbled with another cigarette, hands trembling so violently the lighter refused to spark. He finally threw both aside. How old are you? Ivy? 17. I mumbled through the haze. Lucas barked a laugh, massaging his temples. Still a child. In a few years you'll understand money's true value. Being with Natalie saves me 20 years of struggle, something you could never offer. His tone held clinical detachment. I should have screamed curses. Instead, my voice died. I remembered 10-year-old Lucas sneaking me the sweetest chocolate at the orphanage. 15-year-old Lucas scouring the city for that caramel popcorn vendor for my birthday. 19-year-old Lucas renting a kitchen with his part-time earnings to cook me daily feasts. The boy who'd carved Ivy and Lucas forever into our oak tree now crushed those words beneath designer loafers. He treated me too well. So well that I couldn't believe he'd leave me. Yet here I stood, facing the 29-year-old Lucas Hudson whom I no longer recognized. He looked down at me with cold detachment. I'll arrange a new identity for you. Consider the past decade as nothing but a dream. If only. I wish this exact moment could be the absurd fantasy instead. Lucas had been sitting silently on the couch when an urgent call transformed him completely. I'd never seen him so frantic. He stumbled over the coffee table in his haste. Come with me to the hospital now, he commanded, yanking my arm without allowing any protest. The upscale private hospital descended into chaos as we arrived. Lucas abandoned me immediately, sprinting toward the patient wards the moment we parked. Nurses whispered urgently about a missing brain-dead patient who'd seemingly vanished into thin air. Security footage showing nothing. Could the patient have walked out? Impossible. They've been vegetative for years. I intercepted the nurses. Excuse me. What was the patient's name? The nurse turned pale, screaming when she saw me. Ghost. Retracting my hand, I spotted Natalie Grant nearby. Panicked staff called her Director Grant. She examined her manicure dismissively. Calm down. This isn't Ivy. The Natalie of this decade appraised me with undisguised loathing, gripping my chin painfully. Disgusting copycat, she sneered, shoving me away. A bank card hit my chest. $3 million. Leave Lucas. Dazed, I recognized the possessive hunger in Natalie's eyes when she said his name. Our first meeting flashed through my memory, teenage me being harassed by bullies until Natalie fought them off effortlessly. Back then, her eyes sparkled with warmth as she helped me up. No need to thank me. As Lucas' childhood sweetheart, I couldn't let our genius feel sad. I'm Natalie. Friends? Now I understood her kindness had always been calculated. I don't want your money. I threw the card back, watching it snag her silk dress. Natalie raised her stiletto to kick me when Lucas materialized between us. Lucas! She whined. Your pet attacked me. She's just a teenager. He dismissed without hearing my side. His indifference cut deeper than Natalie's hatred. Pouting, Natalie clung to him. Why keep someone resembling Ivy? Have you forgotten how she destroyed you? Enough. Lucas dragged me aside, his gaze glacial. Ethan will take you home. Stop causing trouble. The middle-aged assistant arrived later, stone-faced during the entire drive. My attempts to inquire about Ivy met professional evasion. Mr. Hudson's private matters aren't my place to discuss. Ethan Harper repeated, his courtesy armor impenetrable. Uncle Ethan, can I borrow your phone? I need to send a message to Lucas. Ethan hesitated for a moment before handing me his phone under my pleading gaze. The smartphones of this decade were far more advanced than those 10 years ago, though browser navigation remained largely familiar. I quickly typed Ivy Peters into the search bar. Surprisingly, the results came up completely empty, not a single relevant entry. Switching to Lucas Hudson, the screen immediately populated with his Wikipedia entry. Lucas Hudson, 29, CEO of Hudson Technologies. Ranked on the Northern City Rich list for 2 consecutive years. Currently engaged to the heiress of Eurasia Medical Group. The internet seemed obsessed with chronicling his meteoric rise to wealth. Though my attention was drawn to a small link at the bottom, scandal alert, Hudson CEO's love triangle, deceased first love versus socialite fiancé, who held his heart. My finger hovered over the tab instinctively. Ethan suddenly interrupted. What exactly are you sending to Mr. Hudson? Maybe I should handle it. Startled, I deleted the browser history and powered off the phone. Nothing important. We're almost there anyway. Lucas had returned before us, sitting cross-legged on the sofa in loungewear with a thin blanket draped over his lap. His usual sharp edges softened until those frosty eyes locked onto me. The dining table still held remnants of lunch. I silently took my seat before the steaming bowl of rice and 3 home-style dishes. After Ethan whispered something in Lucas's ear, the CEO glanced my way and nodded. Understood. Returned to the office. The air grew leaden with tension despite there being 2 people in the room. The bitter melon I bit into carried familiar flavors. Did you make these yourself? Takeout disagrees with me, he replied curtly. The coincidence stung. Exactly 1 month ago, food poisoning from a street vendor's fried rice had hospitalized me with acute gastritis. Since then, Lucas had insisted on preparing all my meals himself. Back then, his cooking had been painfully amateurish, though I'd always pretended otherwise. These dishes tasted just as clumsily sincere. Could someone really cook for years without improving? The tear-salted rice stuck in my throat. Wash the dishes when you're done, Lucas ordered without looking up from his laptop. That night, while fetching water from Lucas's bedroom, I found him asleep on the couch. Most men his age might have softened, but Lucas remained lean. The sight of his lanky frame awkwardly folded into the small sofa tugged at my conscience. As my fingers brushed his pant leg, his eyes snapped open in the darkness. Planning something reckless before your 18th? The sudden light revealed my grip on his trousers. Before he could react, I yanked up the fabric. The gleaming prosthetic limb where his calf should have been stole my breath, dropping me to the floor. Fragments of that afternoon's news article resurfaced, how I'd allegedly become some tycoon's mistress. How I'd ordered Lucas's legs severed when he confronted me. Lucas, that wasn't me, right? The words came out choked, my vision blurring with the memory of bandaged stumps and hospital monitors. How could I have ever harmed the boy who'd shared his lunchbox with me in 3rd grade? The man who'd painstakingly cooked congee during my recovery, despite never mastering anything more complex than scrambled eggs? His silence answered louder than any accusation. Lucas Hudson arched an eyebrow. Actually, you came at the perfect time. His scorching palm slid up my spine as he pulled me into an embrace. What's the fun in tormenting a vegetable? Real satisfaction comes from making the living pay. Don't you agree, Ivy? I kept my eyes lowered, terrified to see hatred or worse, complete unfamiliarity in his gaze. He'd given me a phone. Lifting all restrictions except one, the locked study remained forbidden. I refused to believe I'd abandoned Lucas for money. Yet my online searches yielded nothing about Ivy Peters. Even that scandalous article had vanished, erasing me from existence. My days now mirrored my pre-transmigration life with cruel precision. Lucas forced me to wash dishes, mop floors, all my former pet hates. Each night required completing 2 college entrance exam practice tests before bed. Natalie Grant never reappeared. This cold, unfeeling Lucas left no room for acting coquettishly. My mornings now began with atonement for crimes committed by the phantom Ivy Peters. Scratching equations on scratch paper, I braced for today's punishment. Lucas suddenly snatched my pencil, tossing a scandalous dress at me. Wear this. We're attending a function. No. I threw it back. Haven't finished. His eyes narrowed dangerously. Ivy Peters. Who exactly are you defying? Snatching the garment, I draped it over my shoulders. Fine. I'll wear the damn thing. The white halter dress barely covered my thighs. Blushing at my reflection, I shuffled to the doorway. Lucas didn't even glance at my exposed legs, brutally dragging me to a neon-lit nightclub I'd never dreamed of entering. 12 men swiveled as we entered the VIP lounge. Lucas shoved me forward. Greet them. I bared my teeth. Hello, gentlemen. The bespectacled man at the center chuckled. Swirling amber liquid. Lucas. No wonder you've been hiding this treasure. Dr. Grant overestimates. Lucas drawled. Just cheap entertainment. Dr. Grant? The resemblance to Natalie in the Grant family was unmistakable. At his signal, a server slid 2 whiskey bottles toward Lucas. My sister's still heartbroken about the postponed wedding. You drink, or your little plaything does. Finally understanding my role, I slapped Lucas' hand away from the glass. I'll drink. The liquor burned like liquid fire. Lucas watched impassively as I chugged the second bottle. Enough. He finally growled. Dr. Grant's laughter turned viscous. She's clearly smitten. If she's not to your taste, why not gift her to me? Through the tequila haze, I saw Lucas Adams' apple bob. Okay. I don't know if Lucas Hudson remembers. Today's my birthday. After downing a bottle of hard liquor, I got so drunk that I couldn't tell north from south and collapsed in a corner. Nauseous and desperate to cry, I felt like a cheap toy. With just a few words, Lucas immediately agreed to deliver me to the Grant family in 3 days. When the drinking session ended, Lucas carried me out of the private room. Meeting him again after 10 years, I'd thought him invincible, all-powerful without any vulnerabilities. But now, pressed against his back, I could clearly feel his uneven gait and the sharp shoulder blades protruding through his thin frame. Lucas suddenly paused, turning his head with that perpetual coldness. He demanded, "Why the tears? I warned you about this brutal payback. It's too late for regrets now." I wiped my face on his collar and clutched his neck tighter. If I go to the Grants, will they return the current Ivy Peters? His body stiffened instantly. The logic was simple. Who else but the Grant siblings controlling hospitals could secretly transfer a brain-dead patient? This works. I forced a smile. Doesn't this count as self-redemption? Lucas said nothing, merely tightening his hold. Alcohol took effect quickly. I woke up next on a plane, and the empty first-class cabin only had Ethan Harper in it. My throbbing head was protesting last night's excess, rubbing my swollen eyes. I asked, weren't we supposed to meet the Grants tomorrow? This is day 2. Ethan avoided my gaze. Miss Hudson. Mr. Hudson already retrieved Mrs. Peters. What? The assistant's expression turned pained. You've served your purpose. Keeping you around would have been unpleasant. His exact words. He produced new documents, a fresh ID with my photo and the name Lily Hudson. True to his word, Lucas had crafted me a new identity. But he banned me from returning. I watched his engagement to Natalie Grant on TV. His ice-melting smile as they waltzed in tails and gown. Ethan later sat facing me with school enrollment papers. Classes start tomorrow. Lucas has lost so much weight. My abrupt comments startled the assistant. Wedding preparations, exhausting. He deflected. Can I visit home? Absolutely not. Not even my calls went through now. Across the oceans. I scavenged Lucas' life through pixelated screens. I started waitressing after school. Thanks to Lucas' education, I'd mastered dishwashing and floor scrubbing. Exhaustion bred regrets. Maybe I should have taken Natalie's check. When the Grant heiress marriage made headlines, forums buzzed about the lucky groom. Next morning's news dropped bombshells. The new son-in-law had exposed Grant Medical Group's tax evasion, illegal organ trade, and substandard equipment production. On the day of the incident, the head of the Asia-Europe group was taken by the police for interrogation, causing a huge stir. Some hailed the son-in-law as a hero for bringing down his own family to protect the public interest, while others condemned him as heartless for sending his close relative to prison. More cynical voices speculated that uneven profit distribution had driven the new son-in-law to become an informant. Lucas Hudson's reputation in the industry plummeted overnight. Using the money from my part-time jobs, I bought a return flight ticket. During the flight, I fell into a nightmare. On Natalie Grant's 18th birthday, she invited me to her mansion. After presenting my gift in front of numerous guests, I tried to leave but was dragged into a room by a stranger. What followed was tearing, beating, and humiliation. Natalie burst in with her friends and found me half naked, sobbing and nearly unconscious. I begged Natalie to call the police. She tenderly bathed me, cleaned my wounds, and comforted my shattered nerves. At the Grant family's hospital during the forensic examination, she worriedly said, "Ivy, it takes time to get the report. How will you face Lucas without conclusive evidence?" My disheveled appearance made Natalie more insistent. "Witnesses saw you enter that man's room voluntarily. What if they misinform Lucas?" Through my tears, I insisted. Lucas would never doubt me. Natalie tightened her grip on me. "Let's stay at my apartment. I'll protect you tonight." Completely trusting my best friend, I agreed, unaware that I was walking into a den of hell. She trapped me in that room, tied me up with ropes, and injected mysterious drugs into my arms. Yanking my hair, she sneered, "Aren't orphanage kids supposed to be street smart? Why are you so stupid, Ivy?" 3 neighborhood bullies emerged, the same ones who had harassed me at school. The truth dawned on me. Natalie mocked. "Did you really think I'd befriend a bastard? I'm prettier and more accomplished. Yet Lucas only has eyes for you." As the drugs took effect, I heard Natalie kick the thugs and say, "Here's your chance with your longtime crush. Just don't kill her." Her jealousy subjected me to a living hell. My arms were riddled with needle marks, and I was forced to ingest unknown substances daily, which made me alternate between euphoria and the feeling of phantom insect bites. In rare lucid moments, hallucinations plagued me until Natalie delivered me to my original tormentor. Whispering, "Who cares if an orphan dies?" Jolted awake by Natalie's shrill voice echoing in my ears. I found myself drenched in sweat under the airport's cerulean sky. Abandoning my luggage, I raced to Lucas' home only to find it covered in dust and empty. His study door stood slightly ajar, though he'd always forbidden me to enter. Having taken the earliest flight without eating, I was startled when Ethan Harper burst in, panting. "Sir, I've found Miss Ivy at the residence." Snatching his phone, Lucas Hudson. "I need to see you." On the phone, Lucas's breathing was faint. He replied in a monotone, "But I don't want to see you anymore." I gripped my phone tightly, tears spilling uncontrollably. "Lucas, I found the medical report hidden in your car. 6 months ago. Late-stage stomach cancer." That explained his progressive weight loss. The daily low fevers. The burning skin. He'd kept it secret. And I pretended not to know. I just wanted to be there. To care for him. To do whatever I could. The line went silent for a long moment before he sighed, "Since you know my time's limited, stop disturbing me." I rushed to share everything from my dreams, desperate to convince him that no version of Ivy Peters, past or present, would ever abandon Lucas Hudson. How could I harm the boy who'd shielded me while we grew up? He cut me off coldly. "What's the point of this?" His cruelty matched these past weeks. "Whatever happened over the decade, it's between me and Ivy. You're irrelevant. But I am Ivy." "No." His voice turned arctic. "The Ivy I loved and hated is the one lying brain dead. You're Lu Kuei. Only Lu Kuei." The finality crushed me. 17-year-old Ivy and 29-year-old Lucas were strangers reunited at the worst possible time. From the instant he allowed Natalie Grant to approach, watching his hands stain irreversibly, Lucas knew there was no redemption. But before rotting completely, he needed to avenge Ivy. Only he understood how the timid girl in the orphanage corner, too scared to ask for candy, had overflowed with kindness. He never believed she'd abandon him for money. Not even after she crippled him. Later, he'd found her bloodied in a storm, carried her to his wheelchair. She'd clung to him, mouth foaming crimson, whispering, "Hate me. I deserve it." Even with her confession, he refused to accept it. For 8 years, he'd retaliated against her tormentors. Only Natalie remained. Lucas held damning evidence yet stayed his hand. Her brother's experimental treatment might revive Ivy. He mocked himself for believing a brain-dead patient could wake, yet clung to this madness. He plastered his study with talismans, copied scriptures until his fingers bled, brewed elixirs with his own blood. Pathetic. But worth it if she opened her eyes. How to describe seeing 17-year-old Ivy? Agonizing heartache pierced through wild joy. Lucas bitterly wondered why she'd reappear now, as death approached. As his protection crumbled, the Grant family targeted her. His Ivy was such an understanding girl. Knowing he was in a dilemma, seemingly to spare him the trouble, she disappeared. The input was not taken away by the Grant family. That night at the club was merely an act to make the 17-year-old girl despise him even more. Fully aware of her innocence, Lucas Hudson still accused Ivy Peters of betraying him. What else could he say? The torment Ivy endured was unimaginable for a girl her age, too cruel to put into words. So he chose to let her resent him. Yet she seemed born with a self-sacrificing kindness, eagerly offering to trade places with Ivy. As he carried the sleeping girl onto the plane, Lucas couldn't resist pinching her cheek one last time. "Silly girl. Happy birthday." Lucas lay weakly against the hospital bed, an oxygen mask covering his gaunt face. Ethan Harper sat nearby, jotting down every instruction in his notebook. "Erase all traces of my existence. Keep the study hidden from Violet Hudson. Cremate me and have a burial at sea. No grave. Buy a high-security apartment near her school. On her college entrance exam day, send her fresh lilies." Lucas suddenly paused, a faint smile appearing. "No, lilies would hint it's me. Send sunflowers instead." Ethan amended the note. Frowny face, send Violet fresh sunflowers. Violet wants to study medicine. Ethan added. Lucas stiffened. Bad idea. She's timid. After a moment, he murmured. Praise her English skills often. The list grew. Vet Violet's future boyfriends. Monitor her engagement. What about her wedding gift? Lucas rubbed his ring finger. Nothing. Vanish from her life. Her future shouldn't carry my shadow. Won't you see her one last time? Ethan pleaded. Lucas glanced at his skeletal reflection. No need. The funeral was brief. Held on a drizzly dawn. I waited outside the crematorium until Ethan emerged with an urn. Miss Hudson, he said gently. You know I can't let you attend. Where's the grave? Gone. Yet Lucas had willed me his entire fortune. The lawyer verified my ID. MS. Violet Hudson. May I ask your relation to the deceased? Ethan answered for me. She's Mr. Hudson's legally recognized niece. Better his money goes to someone familiar. He added. I stared at Lucas' water-stained photo in the documents. To him, I'd only ever been someone familiar. The lawyer left with the documents. The movers arrived. Sitting on the floor, I kept wiping away my tears. But they just kept flowing. Mr. Harper seemed reluctant to watch and helped me onto the couch. Miss Hudson. Mr. Hudson has sold this apartment. We've arranged alternative accommodation for you. The workers efficiently cleared the living room and bedroom within half an hour. Two men wearing gloves smiled politely and said, Miss, could you step aside? We need to remove the sofa. When I asked where they were taking the furniture, one of the workers scratched his head and said, Mr. Hudson instructed us to dispose of it at the recycling center. But these things look barely used. I thought I might keep them for myself. Miss Hudson. Mr. Harper frowned disapprovingly. This was Mr. Hudson's final wish. Please respect it. His tone made me feel like I was being childish. But this was Lucas' sofa. I protested. He used to work here at night and sleep curled up on it with his long legs folded awkwardly. Mr. Harper, please let me keep it? He hesitated before replying. You know we can't. As the apartment was emptied, every piece of furniture that was removed seemed to erase Lucas' existence. Mr. Harper finally came out of the study with a half-empty box of office supplies. Kneeling in front of me, he sighed and said, Miss Hudson, I don't understand Mr. Hudson's motives either. But he didn't mean to hurt you. Between my gasping sobs, I hardly heard what he said until he put a laptop in my hands. I've deleted the sensitive files. Keep this if you need some sense of closure. Clutching the laptop like a sacred relic, I whispered my thanks. This cold machine became my last connection to Lucas, even though he had meticulously wiped all traces of himself from it. With Natalie Grant and her brother serving 30-year sentences, the Eurasia Group collapsed along with their medical corruption empire. I moved to a secure studio and bought an identical sofa. Every night, I would study, memorize vocabulary, and sleep there. The morning warmth on my cheek would briefly bring back memories of Lucas emerging from under his blanket, stretching his stiff limbs and asking me what I wanted for breakfast. Lucas. I pushed a plate across the table to the empty space. I can make tomato and egg noodles now. Pretty impressive. Huh? On the 89th morning without him, another emotional outburst made me miss homeroom. During the college entrance exams, while others were scribbling furiously, I froze when I saw the English essay prompt frowny face describe your dream home to your pen pal Tom. Fragmented memories suddenly became clear. As I walked out of the test center humming, I almost expected to see Lucas waiting for me with his umbrella and an ice pop like before. Just wait till you see my perfect English score. I would have boasted. The essay topic was my specialty, describing my dream home. I aced it without a single grammar mistake. All right. Let's finish that popsicle before it melts completely. Lucas Hudson wiped the fine sweat from my nose and asked with a smile. So what's your dream home like? First off, it needs to be huge. A vanity with giant pink bows. Closets stuffed with designer clothes. Shelves full of my favorite dolls, and it'll be my private sanctuary where no smelly boys are allowed. I gestured animatedly. Lucas listened intently, even appearing to seriously consider my demands. I suddenly felt self-conscious. Is my taste too tacky? He patted my head. Don't worry. We can redecorate if you hate it later. The summer heat had everyone else drenched in sweat outside the examination hall. Yet Lucas remained crisp and fresh. I leaned in to sniff his neck, catching traces of minty grapefruit body wash. Did you just rush here? Slacking off again? Lucas stiffened at my proximity before pinching my cheek affectionately. Some jerk didn't want to be the smelly man. So he showered twice and changed 3 times this afternoon. Satisfied? I stuck out my tongue and dodged his teasing fingers. Candidate no. 21? Candidate no. 21. Are you all right? The proctor's voice startled me awake. I lifted my head to find my face streaked with tears. After a beat of stunned silence, the proctor sternly warned, no unrelated actions during exams. Closing my eyes, I signaled to submit my paper early. Stepping outside, the sunny morning had turned drizzly. No one waited for me now. No popsicles. No umbrella. Nothing like my memories. If only one version of these conflicting memories were false. I could pretend everything remained unchanged. That I could still follow my original life path. But both were painfully real. When college acceptance letters arrived, Ethan Harper called after a long pause. Did something happen during the English exam? The score column glared back at me, 130. I wasn't feeling well and left early. I didn't mention writing only one sentence in the essay. I want him in my room. Ethan remained silent until I pressed, was that pink room Lucas created for Ivy? The line went dead air. Ethan, this isn't classified information. Is it? After an eternity came the reply, yes. The boss designed it himself. Never stepped inside after completion. What year? 5 years ago. The second year after Ivy's brain death. I bit my wrist to stifle sobs. Lucas was a liar. A damn liar. I defiantly chose clinical medicine for my major. Ethan had been right. Formaldehyde-preserved organs terrified me. My hands shook during rodent injections. I vomited after rabbit dissections. Yet I persisted. At 21, graduating with honors, I received a full scholarship to Capital University's medical graduate program. The rain kept falling. No popsicles. No Lucas. Just the hollow echo of two truths colliding. Assistant Ethan Harper came with his wife to congratulate me. They carried a large bouquet of vibrant sunflowers. I never imagined back then that the tearful little girl would grow brave enough to pursue medicine. If Mr. Hudson knew, Mr. Harper trailed off abruptly. I continued with a smile. If he found out, I'd have to give him a couple of injections. Both burst into laughter. After seeing them out, I settled on the bench with sunflowers in my arms. Lucas Hudson. I whispered. I'm starting graduate studies in cancer cells and targeted therapies. How I wish you were here. You might have actually gotten those injections. My days overflowed with work. Yet every breakthrough in global cancer research reaffirmed my path. Whenever I saw gaunt patients in oncology wards, memories of Lucas would surface without warning. Gradually, I became known as the oncology fellow who cried easily, the solitary resident married to her work. When the department chair and head nurse started matchmaking, I began wearing a $10 costume ring. Dr. Peters has a boyfriend? They'd ask. Since high school. I'd answer with practiced ease. Twisting the fake diamond. He's busy remodeling our house. Soon the entire hospital knew about my phantom fiancé. Years later, during a critical paper revision, my computer crashed. Forced to use the laptop I'd kept sealed by my pillow for a decade, my hands trembled as ancient hardware whirred to life. The recover unsaved documents prompt revealed a haunting title, frowny face, final letter to Ivy. My throat constricted. Colleagues called me courageous with scalpels. Yet here I sat paralyzed before a digital ghost. When a sudden knock startled me into clicking recover. Words flooded the screen like a drowning man's last breath. To my Ivy, this will be my last gift to you. Forgive me for making 17-year-old you shoulder 25-year-old Ivy's burdens. You never owed me anything. I always knew your true heart. Though I avenged you. Seeing your still form on that hospital bed, the machine said you were gone. But how could I accept that? Modern medicine called it hopeless. Yet when your younger self appeared vital, radiant, I finally understood. Some miracles require letting go. The real vengeance is your survival. Live fiercely. My love. For both of us. Back then, I was in agony. Why did you appear before me now, of all times? When I'm nearing the end of my life? I'll never get the chance to teach the 17-year-old Ivy Peters how to grow up all over again. Maybe I lost you the night the doctors declared you brain dead. You're Ivy now. And only Ivy. An Ivy who's never been hurt. With endless possibilities ahead. Both your boyfriend and your Uncle Lucas Hudson should stay dead in your memories. If you can't forget, try hating instead. Hatred is a kind of fuel. You'll grow up eventually. And then you'll realize Lucas was just an ordinary man. And the years you spent in his arms were nothing but forgettable, insignificant memories. Turn toward the light. Ivy. I clutched my laptop and sobbed uncontrollably. 8 years ago. I never received this letter. Colleagues asked in shock what was wrong. But I ignored them. Hands trembling as I dialed Ethan Harper's number, the letter. Did Lucas write me a letter? There was a long pause on the other end. Yes. Mr. Hudson did write one during his final days. He told me to print it and give it to you after he left. Why didn't I get it? He hesitated before sighing heavily. Mr. Hudson never sent it to me. He said, the dying shouldn't leave anything behind for others to dwell on. Lucas didn't just lie to me, he was cruel. So cruel he wouldn't even let me keep the right to miss him. Ethan's voice floated through the receiver. Miss Ivy. He spent his last breath trying to protect you. Please don't resent him. How could I resent him? 8 years. Lucas. Did you ache for me like this too? Even when everyone claimed I ruined your life? If you'd just believed me, would things have been less painful? I curled around the notebook, choking on heart-wrenching sobs. He glanced up idly, then froze mid-smile. As consciousness faded, a familiar voice whispered, this is the world you wanted to see a decade later. You'll die. Those you love will die. Save him. Restart your life. Bind to the system. Fix the glitches in the fast transmigration worlds. And everything can change. Ready? Suddenly, I remembered why that voice felt familiar. At 17, I'd heard it in a dream. Want to see your life 10 years from now? The laptop crashed to the floor as I slid from the chair. Darkness swallowed everything. I choose to bind.